Hello, thank you for joining me again. Thank you for subscribing. To all the new subscribers, I say welcome. And to all those who have not subscribed, I say, what are you waiting for? I send the invitation to you. It is a warm, welcoming invitation to push that subscribe button. Help me reach 1,000. I am almost there. And to all the subscribers that have already been here on this fabulous journey with me, I say thank you and welcome back. So let's get started just to chit chat about what's going on. I know I've been MIA, and I swear when I get ready to say, oh, I'm going to talk about this, something else has happened. And I know what I mean. Like literally. Okay. First and foremost, I've been putting monies in the coffers, doing what needs to be done, staying balanced. Today, before I came on to do this video today, I did a good house cleaning. I've been meaning to do that. I've been spring cleaning. But one thing that I have noticed lately with this energy, it's like almost like I plateaued. Don't want to use that word, or like energy is like building up to, you got to push through more. I feel like that's what I've been going through. So today I have today and tomorrow off because I have been working a lot, and I said I was going to call myself to straighten up real quick. Took a little bit longer than that, and then so now I'm here. So I suggest that to everyone. You know about spring cleaning, you know about energy. Even though that we are on a spiritual journey, even though that our here on this channel, we like to be focusing on staying grounded and connected and being positive, keeping that higher vibration, inviting angels to be around you, that sort of thing. And life still is life. You are here on this earth to have a human experience, to have a experience that helps you to evolve. Now, I said all that to say, sometimes, yes, because I was listening to somebody, he's a healer, and he was talking about this, and I was like, thanks for the confirmation. Thanks for the reminder. And then I was reading in his comments, and somebody said that you have it backwards. You know, when you work on yourself, everything changes around you, which is true, 100% true. You work on yourself, you work on who's around you. Vibration matches vibration. You get on this spiritual journey, others that are not vibrationally matched with you, you'll begin to see people fall away in your life. It doesn't mean necessarily you won't speak with them ever in life. They just won't be as close to you or close to your inner circle as before if you are on a different vibration. Now, to address that man's comment, it's not that what brought to my attention, to my confirmation for me, it's not that I'm on a spiritual journey, so then everything is not falling in place. Everything absolutely is falling in place around me. When you talk about old energy, maybe somebody is stuck and they're trying to move on and you're holding on, you have old things in your house. Maybe some of the stuff is from a past relationship, maybe it was from a difficult time in your life, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes just keeping stuck energy around you will affect your life around you, the energy in your home and so forth. So it's sounds woo-woo-y, right up my alley. However, it is necessity. Pull that couch out, sweep behind the couch, sweep the floor, mop the floor if you have if you're able to, if you don't have carpet. Throw away any things that you've been holding on to. If you haven't used it and it's just like piled up or in a box somewhere in a corner and things are getting cluttered and stacked on top of each other, clear that out. Clear that energy. Clear the energy so that the energy in your house is like free flowing water that is not hampered or causes any it's just a free flow, nothing in its obstruction. Wash any rugs, just simply clean the energy, change the energy, and watch things around you change. When I say I needed to do this, I needed this day to do this, because I, as a empath that I am, and I feel so much of others around me, that a lot of times when I'm feeling energies that are uncomfortable, I have to remind myself to step back and ask, is this me? Is this me feeling this, or am I feeling that which is around me? And I can do that. I can pick up. And I'm sure those out there, you know what I'm talking about, being able to feel others around you. I walked, for those of you who know, I work for a catering company. I may or may not have said it. I don't know. But when there's an event and everything is, set up for whatever the event is, I was dropping off some supplies and so forth, and I think I was doing a drop off, and I walked into where the event was being held, and right away I said, ew, the energy in here is ew. And I was like, okay, I may be just being a little bit much, and I'll step back. But literally, the day was crazy. It was literally cray. When you are feeling things and you acknowledge it, congratulate yourself when you feel something and it literally turns out to be true. That's that inner voice within you. That's that intuition that is within you. Acknowledge even the smallest of actions that take place, because it's strengthening your self, your inner self. You're fine-tuning what you hear, anything you may see in your mind's eye. You are clearing the lens of your mind's eye. You're reassuring yourself of what you have heard, seen, or felt, and go with it. You are a detector. You have a BS system within you too. You can detect all kind of BS around you, or energy that's not quite right, even if it comes down to your safety. So remember that your intuition is like a muscle. It is like if whether or not you are in the gym regularly, whether or not you exercise your intuition muscles, when you do exercise it by recognizing and acknowledging and telling yourself thank you for listening or hearing, or when you're asking your angels maybe for a parking space, or it's like somebody I know calls them the parking angels. Recognize even the smallest of guidance or a thought that came to you, because when you have, and this has gone way different than I thought it was going to go, this video, when you have, when you're listening to your angels or your guides because you've asked a question or you've asked help, because remember, everything in life, you do it. You create your circumstances, you create your environment, your energy, everything around you. It is you that creates it. And it is, I got a fly in here and it's distracting me. I don't like flies. Somebody left the door open, so that's okay. It was probably me. Flies got in. But recognize what is coming to you. Remember, everything in the physical, the eyes, ears, your mind, your senses, your smell, your taste, everything in the physical you have in the spiritual as well. So just keep all of that in mind, and realize that you are growing. You have life challenges. We all do, even when it comes down to healing. Now, when I was speaking about the energy, how it can really be, I had so much stuff begin to happen, And whether I allowed myself to be caught up in the tsunami of energy or whatever the case may be, but literally yesterday I fell. Jacked myself up. I couldn't believe, and it was like I fell in slow motion. 100 thoughts went through my head trying to stop myself from falling. Grab this, grab that, don't do this, don't do that. And eventually it's like just go with it, and I hit the floor. And so I had to sit there for a minute. Jacked up. I was in pain. My whole right side was aching, sore. I got some bruises. I mean, my knees, my wrist, both of my wrists, especially this side, my neck, my back, my lower back. I was just my whole right side. And so I stepped back for a minute. Okay, this is my right side. Right represents the world. Okay, left is self. Joints. So my wrists were hurting, my knees, my wasn't really my hip, I guess somewhere in that area anyway. And joints represent change. So I'm like, okay, am I resisting change? Am I resisting the flow of energy? Do I have energies that are preventing me from going forward like I want to? I noticed it around my house, even though because I had gotten so busy in working and trying to take care of what needs to be taken care of, because I feel like we're going into a time of, we are already in unprecedented times. We are in times that none of us in this lifetime has experienced this level before, at least here in the United States. So what I began to notice was whether, like, you did laundry and you folded the clothes, but everything didn't get put away. Or I set something and it's like, okay, I'll take care of that later. Things began to just get unorganized around the house. And I have space for everything. Like, one of the great things at my job that I'm great at is I reorganize and I restructure to make the flow of everything easier, easier to access, put things that we don't really use in a higher spot, things that we do use, put it down lower, just shifting and so forth. So I can compartmentalize spaces around me really well. So when I noticed this energy building up, I kept ignoring it to where it translated into my life and I could feel it. So today I said, I'm cleaning up. I'm doing spring cleaning, even though I've already done a lot of spring cleaning and gotten rid of things. This was a time to get in the details of stuff. And on top of that, being as it's gotten hot, like overnight, because it keeps flip-flopping with the temperature, so the cats are shedding. It's just like, are you kidding me? So I was washing all the area rugs and pulling out chairs and sweeping behind, and where the areas where the cats like to jump up on, and just cleaning and getting the details. And what a difference the energy makes. Number one, when you do things like that, you feel good afterwards. You may be a little bit tired, but overall you feel good and you are happier in your space. So this is a way to change the energy around you without things that are within your control. Instead of getting caught up in the things that you cannot control, step into the arena of the areas that you can, and keep the energy around you free flowing, so that energy around you is free flowing, and it's not like water that has a lot of rocks and there's rapids and not a smooth flowing river type energy. That's what you want in your home. That's what you want in your life. When it comes down to like I said, I was jacked up Of course, I called on Archangel Raphael. My body could really use you right now. Those were my words. Because I was like, are you kidding me? So, and then of course, with me being in healing, it happens. It happens. It happens. So, how am I today? I am 99% better. Yeah, I woke up a little stiff and I could feel it. However, I was able to keep moving, and I didn't stop, and I took a Tylenol right before bed because I wanted to make sure. I'm like, okay, let me do my work as much as I can. I was repeating my affirmations. I am grounded. I am connected. I am centered. I am whole. I am complete. I am health. I am vitality. I am healthy, whole, complete. Say thank you. I am grateful. And believe in who you are. Just because you believe in healing and you're actively healing and you are a healer does not mean that you are not affected. Life is life. See, one time I told somebody, I said, you know what the great thing is about when you get sick or injured? And they were like, what? And I said, your body heals itself. Your body has always taken care of you. Take care of your body. Treat it right. Feed it right. Hydrate it. And your body will take care of you. It always has. For me, coming to the knowing and the knowledge that I am a divine God being, I am a piece of source that was taken from source to create me, my spirit being, my spiritual goddess divinity that I am, is in a physical body. Now, this physical body was created for me, to serve me, to support me, to be at my will's bidding. And that's the truth. And if you think about it, your whole life, your body has always taken care of you. It has always supported you. It lets you know when you need to rest, when you're hungry. It lets you know when you need to stretch. It lets you know. It talks to you, okay? Because it was created to serve you. And you're the one that listens to your body. So within listening to your body, thank your body, be grateful to your body, because your body is supporting you, and it always has, and it always will. So I was in that space yesterday. I was in a space of really the environment of what is going on was really getting to me. And it's, once again, staying balanced of not being aware, but not letting it overtake you. Example. So without going into personal details, I had a situation that happened with my son, and I know racism was involved. And it just, anyway, I mean, all of this was like what led up to that fall. I just really should not have allowed it to go that far within myself. But hey, we all learn. We all have our experiences, because you don't know. Once you know, then you know. Now I know. And you can take it to your, apply that to yourself. So one of the situations that happened around here, now I'm kind of like switching to laws and so forth, what's going on in the community. So I'm in Georgia, and there was this man he's of Indian descent, and he got accused by this white woman, 26 years old, of attempting to take her child. And and he just got out of jail after 6 weeks. 6 weeks before his bond hearing was held, all thanks to his lawyer. Now, I had heard, seen clips of it on the news and so forth, but never really got all the details. And so once I, recently have now gotten all these details, like this woman goes to Walmart with her 2 kids, and she's on one of the motorized carts, and she says the kids like to ride in the motorized cart. Okay, let's leave those for the elderly or those that, regardless. Anyway, so the ages are like 3 and 5, something like that. And the woman is in the cart, and this man you can see this man walking up and down. This is the video from surveillance. You can see him looking up and down the aisle, and then he sees this woman, and he walks over to her, and he went over and asked her if she knew where the Tylenol was. And you can see her point, and within that pointing, her son that was on her lap, the balance was off, and so the older man assisted her to help stabilize the child. And then that was that. And there was this man in an orange shirt, and he was right there, and you can see that he had turned his head, and he was looking, and he saw it. So then this man goes on, gets the Tylenol, and then you can see her talking with this man in the orange shirt, okay? And in this, and she's like backed up the cart, knocked over, bumped into the shelving of the display, and her daughter had gotten out and then actually gotten stuck or something she got ready to run over her daughter. So that man in the orange shirt was helping her, and he literally picked the child up, to help, because she was gonna get stuck there with the wheel, and handed her to her mother, so here's 2 times. So now, this man comes back and, has the Tylenol, and he's like pointed, like, showing her, it's like, I found it. She literally gives him the thumbs up, and, and then waves, and he goes off, and you can see him to where he's paying. This is surveillance. He pays for the Tylenol, and he's talking with the person. You can see again, he's talking with the person of where they check your receipt before when you're leaving the store, and goes on. Now, this woman gonna sit up there and say that this man of Indian descent tried to take her child, and excuse me, and so so she later calls 911. Now, I don't know if she's in the parking lot or after she gets home or whatever. She calls 911 to let them know that some man tried to take her child. And so the police had to review the footage in order to find the man, to see who he was. And they arrested this man without the police not reviewing the footage to say, where was this attempted snatching take place? Because if someone was trying to take your child, would you not scream? Would you not, help me? There's a man standing right there. Help, he's trying to take my child. None of that. You didn't go to Walmart security and say, there's a man in there, he tried to take my child. You did none of that. You later called 911, said that he tried to take your child. And so I had seen the interview of the woman after this man has now gotten out of jail after 6 weeks. His lawyer got a copy of the surveillance and took it and, requested a bond hearing, and had the judge, when the judge looked at it, and he said, I'm not in the official position to make a ruling on this yet, but right now this man can have bond. And so he got to be bonded out. Now, the interview that I saw of this woman, and she had her little boy with her, this 3-year-old, and then she was, had him on the lap and said, and she was like, "Remember the man that tried to take you from mommy?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, okay, why do you have to tell your child, remember the man that tried to take you from mommy? You can tell it was like a rehearsed thing. This woman needs charges. Even with the man getting out, okay? And then my thing was, because now here we go again with racism. Because first of all, this 26-year-old white woman whom made this false accusation against this man, obviously it's false because you're looking at the footage, and she's giving this man the thumbs up and everything, and laughing and talking with the man in the orange shirt for a period of time before she leaves the store. So in the meantime, while he's still in jail, of course, the media or whomever it is finds out this whole man's history, his education, his degree, engineer, the properties he owns, a business, he owns gas stations, rentals, business properties, to where one of them is a daycare center. And this woman had to go on the defense that no, this man does not come into my business. No, he's the landlord. He comes to collect his rent, and if he isn't here, I or my husband are walking with him. She literally had to put up a tent, and this is a black woman at that. She has a business that all of a sudden she had to defend herself, like, no, there's no child abuse or manipulation or anything like that going on here. This is a daycare. And she had to put up a tent just for parents to be able to come and pick up their children without the media and, being the violation of cameras and so forth. All over a lie. And that just ticked me. But when I say about racism, and everything happens, everything we do in life is for our edification, no matter how bad it is. Now, when I speak about you don't know until you know, once you are aware, then it's up to you to make the changes. So in the interview of this man, once he got out of jail, he had been in there 6 weeks, and they were asking him, if you could tell he was a spiritual man from his answers. And he was like, well, there was, maybe the universe placed me in there in jail because of when I was in there. He was saying that there were, he was reading, I guess, the Vita or whatever spiritual book. And he said there were 5 other inmates in there that were reading along with him. And so he was like, well, maybe it was so that I can make sure that they each get a copy. I told them I would make sure that they each get a copy of this book. But it's like when they asked him, did they think that it was racial? That was his response. He was like, well, I follow the universe and wherever the path may take you. Now, and when I say racial, when you have people of India descent, Mexican, Asian, there's all these races that don't want to be included or considered part of the black race, people of color. So you try to assimilate yourself with white people, white businesses, white communities, and so on and so forth. Now, this man lived in I think it was Awkward. Anyway, it's up there where in the same district as Marjorie Taylor Greene. So you know what type of community that is. If they represent and vote to elect her in at voting time, how many times now? So you know the community that's up there, and that's the area where he was at when this arrest took place in that Walmart up there. But yet you can't stop and ask yourself, is this racism? Why did this lady pick me? And there were other people there. And then I see this with, like, for example, the South Africans that are brought over. They To me, it's all a ruse. To me, it's all a ruse. It's fake. It's intentional, as they are kidnapping. You call them kidnapping because they are snatching people off the street in plain clothes, putting them in regular plain cars. They're breaking into people's homes and using the words being deported, but literally people are being, like the latest group of people, he's sending them to Africa. He has sent Asian people of Asian descent to Africa, like not even in their country of origin. And it's the same thing with these South Africans that have come over here and are claiming refugee status, that they're being that their lives are in danger from racial discrimination, and their lands are being taken away. Mind you, these were colonized lands in the first place, and you hold 6% of this country, of that country population, and the majority of the farmland. So the country itself, of the major population, is in poverty. And so the government, the newly elected government, is dividing up the land and making it equal amongst the people, because you took it in the first place. You colonized it in the first place, your ancestors. Now, I had heard somewhere in some video that I watched that when the apartheid had stopped in South Africa, and there were some of these South Africans that went to Australia on a refugee status, claimed the same nonsense, that they were being mistreated and their lives were in danger, so on and so forth, and to Australia. But then Australia kicked them out for being bad actors, and now we're rehearsing the same line, except for now you're coming to the United States. There was 49 of them, and you can't go back to your country of origin. You don't have family in Holland and Denmark and all these other places to where your peoples originally came from, but instead you're going to come to America. Now, do you remember when I was talking about the farmers, on how their land, when the U.S. aid and all that the program was cut, and it included American farmers, that they grew the food here, and then once the harvest came about, it was for the schools, or it went over the seas, or it was in some form or fashion. Now, these farms that are they didn't get their government fundings, that the Biden administration, because the previous, when Trump was in office before, the farmers, whatever that the Trump administration had did, the farmers were losing their land, and it was the Biden administration that came in and gave aid to the farmers and put them on a program, and then we got the economic system going back again, after COVID. And now that Trump's back in office, he's implementing the same system. So these dodo birds literally voted for this man again, knowing what he did to them the last time. Now, there's a website that I was saying that J.D. Vance was a part of, and it's called Acre Trader. Is it Acre Trader? Something like that. Acre something. And it's a website to where you can invest to be able to, it's like with these large plots of land, acres and so forth, for farmers, and I was saying how these millionaires are coming in and they're buying this land, and it's like, don't worry, your farms are now going to be operated by corporations. So turns out that some of these investors onto this platform, this Acre Trader thing that JD Vance is a part of, these South Africans have been investing in this for a while now. Now, remember when I said, watch them come over here and they be rich and everything like that, even though they are placing them in 3 different places around the United States and providing them with housing, their medical, their food, clothing, like literally setting them up. As you are taking people that have been in this country for a long period of time, some people that were born here, even though their parents were not of legal status, people were still born here, grew up here, have made a positive life here. Tax paying have people believing that immigrants or people that are still that aren't citizens that work here and so forth, thinking that they're just live off the system, instead of seeing that, what was it, in 2022, the immigrant tax paying was 29 billion. It's a large amount. Like, they pay a large amount into the tax system. And I say, when you keep sending these people out like this, and like the tax system and our income and all that, it's going to show eventually very soon, because literally as of yesterday, the 20th, May 20th, marked 4 months of this man being in office. 4. Feels like 2 years. Anyway, it's all, when I've always talked about how he's trying to start a race war, and he is trying it every which way he can. Now, with these South Africans coming over here, and now they're complaining about they're tired of having to speak English. That ain't nothing but a game. And the reason I say that is because when it comes to Hispanic or any Asian, anybody over here, it's always been an issue of speak English. Speak English. Like, some schools even cut learning Spanish in school as an elective, because they really want it to be a speak English country. So, and that's always been a issue, a rhetoric, something that's been said. Now we got some South African, quote, quote, refugees over here. And after a month, you're talking about, you tired of speaking English? You want to speak what you... Games. So you are trying to aggravate even the Hispanic community, or communities that had an issue of, still learning English, or those who... whatever their situation may be, to where they aren't fluent, or their English isn't the best, or you've come across it. So now we have this publicly being said. It's all a race war. He's trying to start a race war just by picking people up. There was other stuff that I was gonna, how I go. I'm terrible at taking notes. I do want to mention to Christina, you asked me about how long did it take for the peaches to grow to get to that height. I couldn't answer it in the comment, because it was kind of I had to think about it. It seems to take 1 season, but for them to get that height, and I know we've been pruning down, but once we put it in the bigger pot, it just... 1 season, one year, and then we've just cut it down. Because, like, how I talk about the one peach tree, Peter, how we had to cut the side, the branch, whatever died, and so everything that is there is new growth. That's all from 1 season, 1 year's worth of growth. So if that answers your question, Christina, sorry that I didn't put it in comments, but I answered it. And to anybody that feels like, you wrote a paragraph and I said thank you, I promise my thank you and emojis was a whole paragraph. I am not a writer. I just am not. That is not my strongest trait, or whatever you want to call it. So, and I have said it many times on there. Please don't get offended. Please don't take it the wrong way if I have not wordy back to you. I am grateful, I am thankful, and this journey is exciting, and I couldn't do it without you. So there's your answer. And to others that wonder when they see my responses from any comments, that's it. I promise that emoji is a whole 3-4 sentence. I promise that little bit that I put, that's a whole paragraph in my heart. I promise. So yeah. So it's been a wonderful journey. We have this. Okay, here's some more of this race war stuff. So remember when I said I think that uh, Diaper Don is going to do something and blame it on Mexico, and then so that he can take military actions with Mexico. And he always does something first, kind of either he tells you or gives it a test run, or basically when he said to the president of Mexico wanting to send in U.S. military so that they can take out the cartel, and the Mexican president was like, like hell you are not coming on this property, on this land with U.S. military. Basically she strongly said no in a whole bunch of words. So, but now, this Diaper Don administration has made agreements, has brought over into this country 17 members of the what's that Mexican cartel man named? What's his name? You know who I'm talking about. Chapel, whatever. 17 of his family members have been brought over into this country by this administration. Watch something happen, and then he blame it on Mexico so that he can do military actions. I could be wrong. Just like with these dumb tariffs. I wish China had not done anything. You should have stayed over there and said whatever. Put this damn tariff thing on pause for 90 days. What is that going to do? Really, you got 90 days to get yourself together the best way you can, because these prices are just going to return. They're just going to return. They're going to be high, they're going to be outrageous, and it's going to be unaffordable. And that's just the way that it is. They are doing all that they can do. Did I mention, the investors into the South African thing? Watch them own the land. You hear people making videos and so forth talking about they're going to be working the land. They ain't going to be out in the fields. They weren't out in the fields in Africa. They ain't going to be on the fields here in America. They're going to own the land, and they'll get people to operate it. If it ain't going to be something like Elon having some of them damn robots out there operating that land. Bottom line is, there were American farmers that lost their farm, and there are workers who were working the farms that are no longer here. Either they're scared to show up for work, or they have been deported to another country, not necessarily their own. Everybody they talk about is a freaking criminal. Everybody is so dangerous, and got to secure the borders and so forth. And I would really, really like to ask some of these people out here, what has personally happened to you for you to have this much fear, anxiety, and worry about somebody who has done nothing to you but put food on your table because they were out there in the fields when you were not. They were in the factories when you were not. I saw this hilarious video, of these farmers. They were white out there, and they were watermelon farmers. And you know how there's a line that you'll see, like somebody will grab a watermelon, toss it to the other, and the other will catch it and toss it. And it's a rhythmic line that is going for productivity. Oh my God, it was so funny. It was so unorganized. It was so no rhythm to it. Folks stopping and wiping their forehead. And I was cracking up. I was like, that's exactly what you get. That is exactly what you get, because you voted for it. You stood by. You cheered when this man said he was going to do the things that he was going to do. And there is so much more coming. So much more coming. All these prices are just going up ridiculously. And, you just got to do what you got to do. I'm showing my garden as it's going along. We had another storm come through last night, and I had the question, and not that I'm trying to claim it, but when we had that tornado a couple of weeks ago here, and for the first time, I had a tornado siren going off in the middle of it was dark outside, and yeah, I was when they did the weather report, I wasn't even looking at the TV, and I heard them say, make sure you have your phones next to your bed for the for any tornado alerts. And all I heard was tornado. I said, wait a minute, do I have some low level PTSD now? So, but we had another system come through. Well, quite a bit more rain. So, I haven't, and with work, I haven't been able to be out there saying, okay, here's the update. However, you're all going to be like, okay, I should have, when I cut the cilantro, I think the last time I showed you, I had the cilantro and I was like, I'm going to trim those down. I literally cut them both down. You would not guess that today. So, I mean, I had to keep for myself, and then I gave away the rest because it was like, there's no way I can eat that much cilantro right now. And I'm getting ready to do it again. And the bell peppers, there's bell peppers coming on, and jalapenos, and you can just see everything. The most productive always is the green beans, and this year they are the slowest. So we'll just see if they're just having a little slow start. But we're not giving up. We're going to keep on going. And this is all about being self-sufficient and taking care of you in a healthy way, in a less stress way, in way that you may not have done before, but you are here having a experience on this earth, right? So enjoy this new experience. Create your garden and enjoy that new experience. It feels good. It can be work at times, and other times it's just pure joy of relaxing and getting out there in nature. It is like a harmony that takes place within you, because in truth, we are connected. We are all as one. So, it's just getting back to nature. Those of you who are not out there grounding yourself, putting your feet on the ground, if you watch the Earthing movie, it's on YouTube, it's free. It's only an hour long, hour and 10 minutes, I think. And explains about the energies of the earth and the energies in the body and how we connect and we heal and your body aligns, but it all starts from being connected to nature. When you talk about all of these industries, corporations and so forth, I truly believe that shoe industry, the pharmaceutical industry, is a large supporter of shoes, because shoes, especially rubber shoes, keep you disconnected from the earth. A diabetic, they tell you to keep your shoes on. Do not take them off. Do not walk barefooted. It literally is making you sicker and sicker. Your body is not being able to heal itself fully and completely because you are disconnected. It's like you took the plug out the wall and then you expect the TV to still work. You need to plug it up so that the electricity can flow. I saw a video the other day, might have been yesterday, on somebody who had one of those meters that you put to a electrical wire, and if it's hot, if it has current going through it, it'll light up, it'll turn whatever color and so forth. And so, and he demonstrated it by touching the wires and so forth. And then he took that same little tool that he had and he put it up in the air, as high as he could go, and it went off. Like, of course there's electricity in the air. So much so that where there's this man in Africa, and I think that he got funded by a Chinese group or whatever, but literally his electric vehicle, I think it also powers the house, but he's collecting the electricity from the air. And so whatever this man has invented, and I send protection to him, angels. And then those of you who want to do it as well, be stronger in numbers, send angels of protection to this man for this invention that he has made. Because these are the things that we are turning to. These higher technology, innovative, cleaner energy better way of being. We're heading in that direction. Therefore, old energy has to die off. And a car, oil, the combustion engine, so forth, all of that's old energy. All of that has to fall away. Religion is falling away. Well, people are turning more towards spirituality, meditating, being self-aware. Truth is coming out. Truth that has been kept from us as a human race to keep us under control, to keep someone else having power over us, power and control. And they did it through religion. They do it through the system, the economic system, the way that it's set up to where it keeps you out there. Like me, I could give two shits about the FICO system. The FICO score that they have, that is nothing but a tool to get you out there working harder, because it's like I said before, there is not a wealthy, rich individual out there that wants to see you doing better, that they no longer have somebody working for them. So yeah, think about it. This administration, in addition to the nonsense, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense after nonsense. I've always said I feel like they have meetings and come together for talking points. Literally yesterday, Preacher Mike, he got caught handing out the paper to all the Republicans that were coming in for the meeting with all the talking points. So a reporter caught that, video of it. So when you hear everybody saying the same thing, it's because they've had a meeting and here's your paper, here's your talking point. When you hear this, this is what you're to say. This is what you'll respond to. It's like they think we're dumb. They think we're stupid. And they know that people are waking up. They know people are like seeing the truth. Truth and awareness is like you hear astrologers talk now, and they speak of a time that is coming to that people are going to become totally aware. It's like, what is it? Neptune is the planet of illusion and delusions. So you have, for all these people that are in cults or people that are still in the illusion of religion, all this kind of stuff, whether the illusion or delusion is being removed or the illusion or delusion is being further cemented in, and I heard somebody talk about when people wake up from being in a cult or being under the influence of being severely delusional, that life is hard for them. Life is changed. They believe things to be one way, and they realize that the whole time they've been lied to. They realize the whole time their actions were really not justified, so on and so forth. And this individual that I was listening to when they were talking about, and they were saying people then could begin to commit suicide. People become depressed. It's a hard time. They're ashamed. They're embarrassed. How many of these people, which I do not feel 100%, remember now we're only 4 months officially into this administration. A lot of this stuff has not hit a lot of people. A lot of people have not felt the full effect of this as of yet. But I do believe this summer, because I keep seeing explosions and I keep seeing people and I don't want to use the word rioting and so forth. And I still say, Black people, stay out of this. Stay home, stay inside, because the minute that there's Black people out there, they're going to start arresting folks. Because you just see that one video to where there was 2 Black people, 2 Black ladies out of everybody out there protesting. I think it was on May Day, so it would have been like May 1st or May 3rd. So only 2 people. Now that's all I saw of that video. If there was more, I did not see it. But why, out of all the people there, you got to arrest the 2 Black people? Anyway, the moment, like, you go out there as a Black person and all the bad actors that they already have implanted in the crowd that are of white, that are intended, they're just waiting for the moment. They, just like before, during 2020, during the George Floyd and all that, and how people were like saying how people had placed bricks and rocks in different places, and they were saying, don't touch that, leave that alone, because they were waiting for the moment to use it. So don't think that nothing is going to be any different this time around. But I do see a lot of activity this summer. People are like, school's getting out. All that has happened, and all that it will continue to happen. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of activity in the form of protesting, and which I don't know how they're going to handle this. I don't know how, even if they impeach this man. And at this point, they're literally arresting Congress people for going to an ICE detention center to see what is going on, because as a congressman, of city officials, of people of leaderships and so forth, you have the right to go up there. It is your job to find out what is going on. But instead, they keep the guards and so forth created chaos with it, and then claimed that these representatives were that hit a officer. So this black woman who is a congresswoman, has now been charges placed. She's been charged. So, and then also Diaper Don has called for the Republicans to change the rules so that whenever somebody speaks against him or talks about impeachment, to have them removed. Like, you're literally trying to silence the voice of people. There was an election, I think in Michigan, somewhere up in the Northeast area, to where the people voted for abortion reform, and the elected officials who are in place decided to go against that, what the people voted for, and to revert it back to what it was. Like, you're not even going to listen to what the people just voted for? And within that, the abortion thing, there's a woman here in Georgia. Because of Georgia's heartbeat law, that means at 6 weeks, if you can detect a heartbeat, which you can, but that's just the beginning of the development. So it's called the heartbeat bill. So you can't have an abortion after 6 weeks. So this woman who was having some other form of issues, and she was going to the doctor, but they did not, somewhere somebody dropped the ball. She was going to the doctor for headaches. They didn't do a CAT scan or any type of thing in her brain or anything, but they found that she had blood clots. They found that she had blood clots. After going to the doctor 3 times, the third time was because she was admitted for emergency reasons and so forth. But she was like, her boyfriend said that in the middle of the night, she started like gurgling, choking on, which would have been blood, because she had blood clots going on in her brain, in her head, whatever condition she had. And she already has a young son. I believe he's like 5, between the age of 3 and 5. So they asked the mother, could they do a procedure to release the blood pressure and so forth, and she said yeah. And then upon going to do the procedure, they said that they couldn't do it. Turns out the woman was 9 weeks pregnant. She's in a coma. She's on life support, but because of the heartbeat bill, this woman is being kept on life support because of the baby. And you can see she has a belly. Now when this first happened, she was only 9 weeks. Not that they were saying that they would have opted for an abortion, because previously, before the 6-week bill came along, it was 15 weeks. So she would have fell in that window. And they're saying, the family's saying, it's not like they would have that would have been their option, but they said they would have liked to be able to have that choice. They would have liked to be able to choose what is best for their own family. Now, here this woman is being kept alive, and now they're saying that because when she's like 6 or 7 months along now, okay, and they're still waiting to be able to the baby to come to full term. So my first thought was, they're keeping this brain dead person alive and allowing a baby to be gestation inside death? And they expect a healthy baby? They expect what? Anyway, now from the ultrasounds and everything that is happening, they're saying that the grandmother, the woman's mother, is saying that the baby may be blind, it may be wheelchair bound, it may, like, all these issues that they're saying this baby may have, if it even lives. So in the meantime, you got to put everybody through this because of your own personal beliefs instead of allowing a person to decide for themselves and going against their free will. This is the kind of nonsense that needs to be stopped. This is the kind of nonsense that people are going to be enough. I saw this video of a man, he was of an Islam nation, and he gave the example. He said, black people have been like this. You can't see, you can right up in there. They've had their arms out. They're like, embrace us. Black people have always embraced us. Welcome us. Let us, be as one. Let us come together as one. And it's always been, black people of color having their arms out. But he said, people are getting tired. They're tired of holding their arms out and asking for you to embrace them. That's the point we are at right now. That is where we are at right now. So much to talk about, right? So much. That's why I say, when I would say, oh, I got to do a video about that, then something else would happen. You got this man up here who did this, Diaper Don did this Middle East tour, and then have that $400 million plane from Qatar. I know within myself that he was a part of the negotiation of saying what he wanted them to do. He wanted something so out front, so in everybody's face, where now he's intentionally has called for an investigation into Kamala Harris for her campaign, and the different people, of the singers and stars that spoke or sung during her campaigning, so forth, for say how much money she paid them or what was paid. Is this campaign violation? So he's launched an investigation into Kamala Harris for distraction. He's launching investigations into anybody who spoke against him. Everybody was all Doge, and I kept saying, you're calling for the wrong person. Why was Elon up there on that Middle Eastern tour right along with his sons? So you're out there making business deals. You're not supposed to be running a business as president. You relinquish all of that. This man has done none of the above. Even if this man, I don't see how they're going to stop this. You impeach him, you still have the administration in current. If we have elections for midterms, I feel like they're going to be so heavily manipulated, so heavily influenced like these past elections have been, that I don't know how fair they will be. It's just nonsense, but that is exactly where we are at. I wanted to talk about more. I guess I'm going to have to put it in another video because we're at an hour. Yes, and I've just been talking, trying to fill you in for those who don't pay attention, because it can be overwhelming and it could affect your energy just like it did with me, to where eventually I had a fall. So you really have to keep yourself balanced. Be kind to yourself. And just because you feel sick, or just because you've had an injury, or just because you've had crazy thoughts, does not mean that you are not a healer. It does not mean that your body's not going to heal itself. It does not mean that you're not going to have experiences or situations, because in the hardest of times, is when you have the most victories, when you've had the most revelations, when you've had your most personal growth. You need resistance in order to grow. Who has ever had in their growing up, or listening to their children as they are growing up, and they talk about the physical growing pains? Mommy, my knee hurts. Mommy, I ache. Do you remember having growing pains? Well, you also have growing pains in life. So don't be so hard on yourself. Just acknowledge what you have gone through. Acknowledge your experiences. Learn from it. Gain from it. Release it and let it go. So I will just have to make another video later so that we can keep talking. I am going to read chapter 15 of The Children of the Law of One and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis. So I need to go so I can make that video, so I can upload it, so I can keep staying balanced in all the different things that I have my hands in. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. For those who have not subscribed, remember, I sent you an invitation. Did you not receive it? You are welcome to subscribe. You are welcome to this community. You are welcome to this channel, okay? So until we meet again, have the most benevolent day, and let's say it together. I am love. I am light. I am all that I am, and so are you. Okay? Have the most benevolent day.